A lot of people think deep space ambient is just a matter of slower tempos, bigger reverbs, and sounds that feel distant. But that's actually where the track starts to lose its center, because real deep space ambient is not just about size, it's about gravity. And gravity comes from relationship, from the way one sound pulls on another, from the way motion is introduced with restraint, and from the way even the simplest waveform can carry real emotional weight when it's shaped with purpose. So in this track, what I want to do is build that sense of width and scale in a way that feels focused and undeniable by using controlled modulation to keep the movement alive without letting the sound drift off into chaos, by using call and response techniques so the elements feel like they're speaking across a vast field instead of just stacking on top of one another, and by choosing simple but intentional waveforms that leave room for emotion to come through clearly. Because once you understand that deep space ambient is not just a texture, but a system of tension, breath, distance, and return, you can start making ambient that feels wider, heavier, and far more cinematic without overcrowding the track or reaching for complexity just to sound impressive. What is going on, guys? Chris here from Signs of Life, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to build a deep space ambient track from scratch. And like I said in the intro, it really is about the relationship between the sounds themselves. And that's what we're going to focus on in this video today. Now, to do that, I'm going to use a selection of presets from my brand new preset pack, Chromatic 5, which was just released. You can check it out. The link is down below in the description. This is 50 presets for pigments, ambient, dark ambient, cinematic, you name it, it's all inside of Chromatic 5. And like I said, it's available right now. And we're gonna use some of those sounds to really illustrate and show you how the relationship between the sounds and kind of the tweaks that you make really do matter in deep space ambient. So anyway, that's the game plan. Thanks for being here, and let's go ahead and dive into this track. So as you can see, I've got a demo track here. This is, what we're gonna work on today. And over here on the left, this is our bass patch. This is a preset called Junction from Chromatic 5. It's got some modulation on the width here and the FM, right, on that analog engine. That's our bass foundation. So that's really nice. Love that. And next to that is a simple sine wave. Now this is not a Chromatic 5 preset. This is just a simple sine wave coming from pigments. But you can see here on the span, sometimes your sub-oscillator or your sub-frequencies just have to be a steady sine wave. And you might not necessarily even be able to hear that, but you can definitely feel that. And that's the whole point of it being there. So we're gonna do something like this and show you guys how powerful, a sub-oscillator can be, especially in this style of music. So that's cool. Next up is a preset called Future Reality. Now this is also from Chromatic 5, and this is a beautiful pad using the liquidy wavetable here. Really, really nice stuff. And this is just kind of holding down that steady, bass / pad foundation. Very dark. I'm using a instance of the Valhalla Future Verb, which I absolutely love. We're gonna use that all over this track. Really great reverb for this style of space ambient, right? So that's holding down that beautiful atmospheric layer. And next to that is a preset called Over Under. Now, I specifically chose this because it has a cutoff filter that's not really in motion. But what I'm doing is I'm making a custom clip envelope here. And this is something you can do in Ableton. You can see here that it's pretty much static the whole way through. And then when it gets close to the end here, that's when the higher frequencies start to open up. So, this is something you can do to kind of, take the place of, like an LFO or something that's just the same motion over and over. You can start drawing in your own automation exactly where you want, those higher frequencies to come in. It's a very, very effective technique. And again, that's about the relationships between the sounds themselves. So we can wait for this to reach its peak. While I do that, I'm gonna show you the noise oscillator here. I've got a simple, instance of pigments here, just with some white noise, like nothing crazy, but I am shaping it with the two filters here, right? So some white noise, just holding down that clarity on the high end. So here's that high end coming in. Check this out. As soon as that pad opens up, you're really gonna feel and hear the cutoff filter open. Right about now. Oh yeah. Exactly. Gorgeous stuff, right? So again, it's not just about, adding modulation on a loop like an LFO, but sometimes you got to intentionally do it exactly where you want it. So we're going to do that. And then rounding this out here, we've got a preset called Mineral Sky. And this is again from Chromatic 5, just a simple sequence coming from Stepic. And once again, I'm doing the clip envelope thing where I'm really using, hand-drawn automation to emphasize where the high frequencies are coming from. So you can see here on the actual envelope that, I've drawn in some filter cutoff movement that only happens every other 8 bars. So for 8 bars, it just stays around, say 4,000, or 270 hertz, and then it goes all the way up to 4,000. So that's a really cool trick because you don't have to, let it just go on a sine wave LFO or a triangle LFO like I normally do. You can actually hold it here, and then every once in a while, you'll hear that sequence really starts to open up. Right here. Oh yeah. And again, that could be a nice contrast to that pad, that higher pad, that's opening up every once in a while, right? Again, these are the tricks of the pros. So anyway, now to finish off here, I've got an instance of Unify. I've showed Unify many times on my channel, but I got this idea from one of my clients who's like, I really love your quad zone trick in Omnisphere. Can I do, something like that with Harmony Bloom? And I'm like, yeah, but you know what? You could do that with a bunch of other synthesizers, including Unify, which is a really wonderful plugin that contains all of your other plugins. And oh my God. So you can see here that I've got 4 instances of pigments here, and these are all Chromatic 5 presets. One's called Jupiter Rain. The next one is called, what is this? Possible Outcomes. These are all pads, okay? And the thing is you can see they're spread out across the entire keyboard. So I've customly set, each pad to be in a different zone of the keyboard. And what I'm doing here is I'm using Harmony Bloom at like a really slow, glacial pace, the slowest it can go with the maximum amount of note duration. And that's triggering notes every once in a while. And I'm sending that to Unify to trigger presets from Chromatic 5. Listen to this. So you can hear the result. That Harmony Bloom is just barely moving. But every once in a while, you're gonna get a brand new note, which is gonna trigger a new pad across the keyboard, and we don't even know where it's coming from, right? It's totally random, but it's really, it makes these different chord relationships. Like it's just a wonderful trick, right? So that's another way you could use Harmony Bloom to create atmosphere for your tracks, things like that. We're gonna get into all this. So anyway, as you can see here, sounds great, looks great. So feel free to go check out those presets. The link is down below once again. And yeah, thanks for being here. And let's go ahead and dive straight into it. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Now, first things first, as always, I'm using Ableton Live here. However, you can use any DAW of your choice, and I'll be playing in 62 beats per minute, and I'll be playing in B minor today. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with the bass. Now, to do that, I'm gonna grab an instance of pigments here. I'm gonna load up that preset. This is called Junction. Again, this is from Chromatic 5, all right? And we'll load Junction here. Now I'm gonna make some adjustments here to Junction. The first thing I'm gonna do is remove the LFO modulation, all right? To do that, you can just double click on the yellow wheel here right under the cutoff, okay? And that deletes the modulation from the LFO. The second thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna switch the play mode from mono to poly 2, and that's gonna give us, more than one voice, okay? And I'm also going to adjust the attack here and lengthen the attack to around, 6.5 to 7 seconds. And I'll do the same with the release here, okay? So we have a nice long bass that's gonna connect from one note to another, okay? And the 3 notes that I'm gonna play here will be the last 3 notes in the B minor scale. So I'll play a G1 here, and it'll just something like this. Okay, we're gonna hold that for a long time. And then I'll play an A, okay? And you can hear that kind of like, dissonant relationship as they cross over. That's what we want. That's perfect. Okay, so let's go ahead and draw in a MIDI clip with those same 3 notes. It's gonna be a 16 bar MIDI clip, all right? So again, I'll switch my fixed grid to 4 bars, and I'll play this low G here. The second note is gonna be an A, and then we're gonna go into a B, and we're gonna hold the B for 8 bars, okay? And again, because we're playing at 62 beats per minute, I mean, that's like glacial pace here, really slow stuff, okay? But you can see, I mean, the rest of the modulation on junction does the rest of the work, right? It's got some analog movement here. The LFO is eventually gonna modulate the FM here, okay? You could adjust the effects here if you don't want any delay, reverb or shimmer. There's just very subtle amounts because it is a bass sound, okay? So that's what we're gonna do with the bass. I like that because, you could use macro 1 if you wanted more filter movement, right? And again, that's totally optional, okay? But it's there for you. And again, if you had an MPE controller, that would just be accessible to you right on the slide. Okay, so cool. Let's go ahead and rename this junction. Now, the second thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put in that sub layer, all right? And again, you're probably not gonna be able to hear this, but you're definitely gonna feel it if you have like a subwoofer or something. So the note that I'm gonna target here is B0, okay? And it doesn't really matter what you do with the envelope, because all we're gonna do is just put a nice long clip. Let's just do another 16 bar clip. And again, we're gonna target that note. So let's go ahead and just make a B0 down here. That would be right under C1, okay? We're gonna draw this all the way across. Now you're gonna see, and you're going to hear, well, barely, if we press play here, let's go ahead and restart the entire thing. It's just down there, right? You can't really hear this. I mean, I can, kinda, right? You could also lower this down a whole nother octave. So it's just barely down there, right? So this is like B -1 or something, right? So it's like way down there and you can barely hear it. I'll put a span on there to kind of show you exactly what it looks like, right? It's way down there, way down there. But again, like if you had, you were in a car with big speakers or something, you'd totally be able to feel that. We can lower down the volume a little bit. So again, it's playing off the relationship between the root note and the actual bass line, okay? I like that because that's like, all right, on the overall span, if we put a span over here, I'll go ahead and grab another span and we'll put it over here. You can see like that's the sub frequency and that's the actual bass right here. Right? So it's still there. It's filling up that space. It's occupying that space. And again, I would only do that with like a sine wave down at that range. I wouldn't use much, maybe a filtered, triangle or something like that, but like pretty much sine wave territory. Okay, cool. All right, so let's rename this to sub layer, sub bass. Perfect. Okay, now let's use a pad here. All right, we're really gonna start filling out the atmospherics here. All right, so let's go ahead and grab pigments. The preset that I use was called Future Reality. Okay, and I'll go ahead and grab that from Chromatic 5. Let's go to pads down here. Chromatic 5 is just chock full of really, high quality presets, right? That I've, spent hours on. So I might take out the LFO movement or take it down a little bit. Again, just customly modifying this. I'm going to use my own effects here. So I'm going to turn off effects B, which is, usually reserved for the delay, reverb, and shimmer, because I'm going to use the Valhalla Future Verb today, all right? If you have Future Verb, great. If you don't, no worries. Like, you can obviously use Supermassive or something. Future Verb is just a really great echo / reverb combo. So let's dial in the preset that we're gonna use for the entire video, okay? So let's go for like a little bit less width here. Maybe we'll go like around here, like 66, 70%, okay? And we'll do a very high mix, like around 80%. We'll leave the echo alone and we'll just go for a really long decay here. You can go all the way up to 70 seconds, which is just crazy. We'll go 35 seconds, full size, full level, and we'll change the reverb mode to space here. And we'll adjust the attack to around 70%. Now, the other important controls here are the mod rate, which I usually like to be around, you know, I don't know, 0.25 hertz. And then the depth, you can turn it up, okay? This is like kind of like adding the chorus to the reverb. And then we'll add some, you know, increase the high EQ cut, set it at around, you know, 9,000 hertz, okay? So that's cool. So let's go ahead and play some notes here and kind of get ourselves acquainted with this preset. Let's go ahead and play this. Oh yeah. That's that beautiful sound of future reality, right? Using this liquidy wavetable and this signed fist. Listen to the macro one. I love this. Listen to this. Right there. Oh yeah. Gotta love Chromatic 5. Now, this is our low pad, okay? So I'm not gonna focus too much on the upper part of the frequency spectrum. I'm gonna stick down here around, you know, B2, B1. This is kind of gonna be our low pad. Down here, okay? So right in the middle of the keyboard if you're playing a keyboard, okay? And I'm just kind of playing down some notes, like nothing too specific. I love that though. Yeah, that's really good. All right. So let's go ahead and recall that and see how we did here. There we go. Very nice. Okay, I like that. I'll get out of the way so you can see what we did. And let's go ahead and adjust this to a, there we go. Put it in scale mode. Perfect, yeah. So you can hear, let me go ahead and adjust this. We'll add some time value to this. You can hear like the relationship between the bass line and this pad now is a thing, okay? And, you know, we're just getting going here, but you can already kind of feel the vibe of the track. It's very thick, especially with that, you know, reverb that we created, right? It's just like, it's really deep in there. It's really deep in there. But I love that. I love that, okay? It's just meant to support the next layer, okay? Perfect, okay, fantastic. And again, we're gonna use that reverb preset, okay? So we'll rename this. This was Future Reality. Your future reality, right here on Signs of Life. All right, cool. So we've got 3 layers so far. Let's go ahead and check in with our span here. We'll change the color to purple. And, you know, that's exactly where I wanted to be, okay? I did not want something, you know, way up here on the higher frequencies. And, you know, I think this is what I did in the demo. I even might bring the cutoff filter down a little bit, okay? To make it even darker. And that darker relationship, again, is gonna allow the next pad, the higher pad, the one with the pad that has the higher frequencies, to stand out, okay? Because if you occupy, I often talk about this on Patreon, you know, it's all about frequency separation, right? What does frequency separation even mean? Frequency separation is making sure that you're somewhat compartmentalizing, you know, each individual track or part of your track into a specific zone, right? Because if you have too many things overlapping, like, you know, too many pads on top of each other, the sequence fighting with the pad for attention, everything is going to be trying to, you know, say something at once in very specific spots. And that's going to cause, you know, harmonic spikes, unnecessary resonance, things like that. Okay. So I'm just making this point to let you guys know, like, this is exactly what you need to focus on at this stage. If you're just starting out, or you're just learning how to create this style of music, or even if you've been producing for a while and you're wondering why your tracks don't sound very good, you might need to, you know, pay attention to what octave you're playing at. Where's the filters? What's the relationship between these sounds themselves? Just thought I might drop that little gem on you guys. So this is good. I like this. Let's move on to our next track. Our next track is called Over Under. So let me go ahead and grab another instance of pigments here. All right, we're doing great. This track is sounding fantastic already. I like it. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab that preset. And that was called Over Under, right down here in the pads. Fantastic. Okay, and the reason why I chose this preset in particular was because it does not have an LFO on the cutoff, okay, which we're gonna do manually, all right? So let's go ahead and, you know, maybe play some notes here. I'm gonna hear what this sounds like. Let's go, before we do that, let me go ahead and grab the preset here. Let me go ahead and get out of the way. So I'm in Ableton here, I'm right-clicking on my insert effect. I'm pasting it here, okay? No problem. Very good, I like that. All right, so let me get back on the screen and let's go ahead and just lay down something here on the higher end. Let's see what this sounds like. Really, really nice. Love it. Fantastic. Yes. And again, this is going to be that pad that really stays dark and then shines through, all right? So let's go ahead and look here how we did. Let's go hit the recall button. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. That's gorgeous, all right? So we'll back this up and I think we'll leave this at an odd number here. So we'll go 19 full bars. Why not? Why not? And we'll lower down the cutoff, okay? Because what we're gonna do is we're gonna come in here and we're gonna click on the envelopes because this is a loop here in Ableton. This is important. If you're using Bitwig or Logic or Cubase or something, I'm sure there's an equivalent to this. Logic calls them clip automation. You can look it up if you're using Logic. So envelopes here, all right? And we'll make sure that our target here is Pigments filter 1 cutoff. I think that's because that was the last thing I touched in Pigments, that's active. Otherwise, you might have to configure that in Ableton. So I'm gonna go ahead and just wait until this comes back around here. Maybe we'll lower it down even more. And then we're gonna blast it right around here. I like that. Maybe it'll go even faster. Watch this. Yes. Yes. Right? That's nice. That's nice. I love that. Because, of course, you know, we've got our big, beautiful Valhalla future verb here, holding it down. Yeah? With all that modulation, beautiful high and low cut. I mean, I love it. It just sounds good, all right? It's very important to control the width on those Valhalla plugins. They can get very phasey, very fast, but you can see here, we're in the safe zone, okay? And again, I might even come back to this clip envelope here. We'll go back to pigments and lower this down even more. I love the contrast. I love the contrast because it really does create that call and response. I was talking about this in the intro, was like, how do you create call and response? You create it through modulation, automation, composition. You know, these are all the things that really contribute to someone wanting to engage with your track. Just listen to that. And it could even be slower than that. It could be like 32 bars and like at bar, you know, 28 or something, then it rises. Like it doesn't have to be, you know, that complicated. It can be very simple. But it's the interaction of the sounds themselves. That's what creates the momentum. That's what creates the engagement. That's what creates someone wanting to listen to your track over and over again so they can hear what's around the next corner. So if you've never done this before, you've never, you know, thought about these concepts before, let me just plant the seed. So you guys could, you know, at least benefit from that little extra thing, because that's all it takes is these little extra things. And that's what makes professional sounding ambient music. Hope that helped, all right? So there you go. We got a nice, beautiful pad here. Let's rename this over under from Chromatic 5. Very nice, very nice. Love that. All right, let's take one more check-in look here. Oh yeah. Gorgeous. Love that. Oh yeah. And that's just holding it down there. I love it. Okay. Great. A little more balancing is required, but you know what? We're pretty much already there. Okay. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is a very, you know, simple technique. Not crazy at all, okay? But I really throw this in there now because I'm like, well, if you're doing stuff like this, you might as well do it. It can't hurt, okay? And what I'm talking about is I'm talking about adding noise to your tracks. No, not the kind of noise that makes you want to cover your eardrums. The kind of noise that's like sculpted and just sits well in the mix to kind of provide that clarity, especially when you're closing down filters left and right on your pads. Sometimes you might want something like a noise sample, okay? So if I take the white noise or the analog noise, it doesn't really matter. Let's just take analog noise, okay? And we put it through, make sure it's going through filter 1. And then we turn on filter 2, right? So we have a serial filter routing here. And what that means is you can see the filter routing is either serial or parallel. Parallel means both filters are independent. They both go to the effects. Serial means they're back to back, meaning filter 1 goes into filter 2 and then it goes to the effects, okay? I hope that made sense. So like, you know, either filter 1 gets routed into filter 2 and then it goes to the next page, which is the effects, or they get routed in, you know, independently. So what I can do here is I can use this as like a tone shaper or a noise shaper, if you will. So I can change the, you know, the bottom filter to a high pass and to the top filter as a low pass. So now they're doing this kind of thing where they're coming together and the noise is going to be somewhere in between. Check this out. You're going to hear it. It's going to be a little loud, but nothing too crazy. All right. There it is there. So listen to this. Very simple noise sample. Okay. But because I'm doing the routing in the filters, I have control over where that noise is. It's almost like putting an EQ there, but I like to do it with the filters because the filters are, you know, meant for this kind of thing. You're shaping the sound of the noise, okay? I like that. So if you put a span on that individual track, you can pinpoint exactly where that noise is falling. And that's exactly where I wanted it. I wanted it between 4 and 10K, and I got there, okay? If I really wanted to, I could, pull the high pass filter up a little bit, but it doesn't really matter. It's cool. And what I could also do, if I want a little more vibe, is I'll grab that reverb preset and I'll paste it over here. Let's paste it. I'm gonna put it before the span. And so now you can hear the level of the noise dropped, right? Because it's going through a reverb now. But it's like, it's vibey. It's viscerally felt on the high end. And if you look at our overall span, our overall frequency analysis, you can see it up here. Okay, it's way up here holding down the higher frequencies. A lot of the times I get asked, what do you do on the higher frequencies? What do you put up there? Well, that's one thing you can do, okay? That's one thing. I like this. It's good stuff, all right? It's good stuff. Oh yeah. Very nice. You can hear that noise. Now, you can even go one step further with this noise. So this is like the ultimate level. Let's just call this noise. Is you could do some like side chaining. This is almost like extraneous, but you know what? Who cares? This is Signs of Life. So like you could grab, let's just close down the production channel strip here, and I'll grab a compressor, like a classic Ableton compressor. Let's grab the glue compressor here. All right. So with the glue, what I can do is I can hit external. Let's use external. And we'll just sidechain it to one of the pads, like over, under, or future reality. Okay. And if we turn the threshold down, now we're getting a little automation from that sidechain. So the compressor is kicking in. It's like moving it a little bit. You can see it's hitting the noise for a little bit more motion, right? Just something organic. I mean, if this was a sample, like, and I had like high passed it or something, a sample of, I don't know, ocean spray or something, and I just band past the hell out of it, it would kind of do the same thing with a little more motion, right? So all of these things matter. You can put a chorus there. I'm just giving you ideas. You can put a chorus there. You can do whatever, right? It's just meant to hold down and be an interesting high-end source, for your track. Okay? Okay. I think I made my point clear. All right, so we got a noise shaped by filters, sidechain, glue compressor, future verb. You can probably lower down the mix here on the noise, on the reverb, just for that one. Okay, great. All right, now let's move on to the sequence. Ah, yes, the beautiful sequence. Love me a good sequence. Yes, sir. All right, so let's go ahead and grab the tried and true, good old Stepic. All right, why not? You could easily draw this in by hand, but I thought it'd be fun for you Stepic fans out there to just do another Stepic, plug. I'll put it on B2 and we'll go 1/8 notes and just simple 8-step sequence, nothing crazy. Let's do pentatonic minor even. So what I'll do is I'll just do something like this, where it's just kind of, either I'm gonna move that back down to steps 5 and 6, or I'll just leave it there. That sounds good. All right, cool. So I'm gonna leave that running, and then we'll grab Mineral Sky. This is from Chromatic 5. Let me go ahead and grab Pigments here. And this is where we're gonna do another clip envelope, and we're gonna add an alternate, I call it the alternate 8-bar LFO. All right, so we'll grab Mineral Sky here. I'll turn off the delay and reverb because I'm gonna use my own. And okay, we can even turn on, well, yeah, you know what? Let's do the same thing. We're turning off the LFO. Okay, so I'm gonna double click the yellow wheel here. I'll also turn off the velocity because I want this to be dark when I want it dark and then I want it to be bright when I want it bright. All right, this is very specific. So let's hear what this sounds like. Oh yeah, that's close enough to the intro. All right, we'll put some delay and reverb here. Oh, that's gorgeous. As soon as that sequence hits, it's like, oh yes, love it. Longtime fans of the channel know. This is real space ambient here on Signs of Life. All right, so let's look at this on a span. You can visually see the plucks happening right here in the middle, right? But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab the maximum amount of stepic bar count, and I'll drop it into the clip launcher here. Oh yeah, so nice. All right, so let's go ahead and restart this. And that's 16 bars, okay? Let's just duplicate the notes here. We'll go back to notes, and we'll hit Control D, and move this back. Perfect, all right. So now we have a 32 bar mini clip, and I will crop this. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to do the opposite LFO trick. So I'll come over to the envelopes here, and under filter 1 cutoff, make sure it says pigments filter 1 cutoff. If it doesn't, you can, go back to pigments and touch that filter 1. So I'll just make a simple, my own custom triangle LFO here. But notice again, this is only happening every 8 bars when I want it to. Let me get out of the way. So you can see it's dark most of the time. You can even make it, even brighter here on the end. Real. Oh yeah. That's nice. Because what that does, it provides contrast. Oh yeah, it's so gorgeous. It's very soft for the most part. And then once you run in to, this big long, LFO here, 8 bars, listen to this. It gets really gorgeous really fast. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's good. Oh, I love it. I love it. Fantastic. Oh yes. So again, this is using clip envelopes for what they're good at. If you're working in arrangement view, or any other DAW, linear timeline, you could do the same thing, but it would just be, just doing automation in the DAW. But, and of course, when I'm done with this track, that's what I'll do. But right now, this is a great solution for you, especially when you're just getting the whole thing down. So let's look at this on our span. Gosh, this track sounds good already. Oh yeah, oh yeah. That's exactly what we want. No phasing, we're right in the pocket. And what I mean by that is you got a nice, beautiful bass here. We got our sub, we did everything right. Right? That noise, you can visually see the noise here. And that's that noise sample, right? That's why it's there. You see that sequence crawling up there with that LFO. Oh, gorgeous. All right. Let's rename this Mineral Sky. Yes. Okay. Now, last but not least, I really wanted to show this because this was such a great idea, and I want to give a shout out to my client, Chris, who suggested this to me. Was like, hey, can you do the quad zone thing in Omnisphere with Harmony Bloom? Can you put the two together? And I was like, yes, you can. But then my mind goes, you can also do that with the multis. And if I wanted to do that in pigments, I'd use something like Unify 2, right? So it's there's a bunch of ways to do this, and I'm sure you could find another way to do it if you had a DAW that had a host that could support multiple. And you could even do it just, sending one of Harmony Bloom's MIDI channels to 4 different tracks, or you could send Harmony Bloom on separate MIDI channels to 4 different tracks. There's a bunch of ways to do this, all right? So I'm not saying that Unify is the only way to do this. However, it's probably one of the easiest. because Unify is just built for this kind of stuff, right? So even if you don't have Unify, let me just explain the process. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the first layer here to pigments, okay? And Unify, if you haven't checked this out before, I have a bunch of videos on my channel featuring Unify. I highly encourage you to watch them. So let's go ahead and just change it to a chromatic 5 preset. So we'll change it to, scroll does not work here in pigments. We'll just have to go down to Jupiter Rain. That's a beautiful patch. I love that patch. I'll turn off the effects here. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna come up here and we're gonna say new empty instrument layer, okay? And we're gonna do this again. So we've got our own instrument layer here. We're gonna do this again. We're gonna go all instrument. I'm sure there's a faster way to do it, and John can correct me here. So I'll grab pigments here again. And the preset I'm gonna use is possible outcome. So we'll scroll down, we'll find possible outcome here. There it is. Excellent. Once again, we'll turn off the delay and reverb here because I'm gonna use my own. That's great, but it's still gonna sound good. All right, we're gonna do this 2 more times. Empty instrument layer, switch it to pigments, Arturia pigments, okay? I mean, this is very like rudimentary, kind of boring stuff, but when you're setting up presets, what's the great thing about Unify is once you do this once, you don't have to do it again. You can just save it as a preset and that's your, you know, pad thing or whatever. Like, it's really cool. Total acceptance. Love this preset. And finally, one more time, let's add an empty instrument layer here. We'll come down to the end. All instruments, Arturia, pigments. And we're gonna load a patch called Suspended Motion here from Chromatic 5. Okay, all set. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're going to set up where this key range is, all right? So what I'm gonna do is kind of move this over. You can see my key range is moving here over on the left-hand side. And what I can do, this is the hack. You right-click and you can slide just like you can in Omnisphere. So try that if you're using Unify to right-click on these little zones right here, and you can do the cool fades. That is awesome. I love that. So right-click, fade, fade, and you want to make sure that you're playing in a zone where Harmony Bloom is going to go. All right, you don't want to make it too high on the keyboard because there's no point, because we don't want to play up there. All right, we don't want to play in like the 7, 6, 7, 8 zone. So you can see now I've got 4 different pads here. Okay, and they're all coming in from the same MIDI channel, like no problem. It's all coming in. All right, that's half the battle. So now let's set our input from Harmony Bloom. Okay. And what I'll do is I'll come over to Harmony Bloom and we'll set this up. This is actually the easiest part. So all we have to do is make it a, let's go to B here, B minor, and we'll do minor here. And we're gonna change the offset, change the even offset, change the speed offset, increase the note duration all the way to the max. That's important. The number of notes can be really long. Maybe we'll put 2 trigger bars. And the loop length here, the max is 128. It could work on 64 as well. Let's start on 64 and see how it works. Now here's the key. You want to set the minimum note length to what you set it in Unify, B0, around there-ish, and then around B5. So now we've got B0 to B5 as our note minimum and maximum. Final step, sync it, okay? Sync it to DAW. Now it's moving. And as you can hear on this layer now, we got our texture. Oh yeah. Let's go ahead and copy that reverb preset. I'll get out of the way. Copy that. Put this after Unify. Like I said, we're using our own delay and reverb here. Oh my god. Oh my god. That sounds so good. Wow. So it's picking different notes from each one of these pads in Chromatic 5. And again, Unify is you know, multi-core aware here. Oh my God. Oh, it's so good. Let's go 128. So now we're moving at this really slow speed, right? But every once in a while, it's going to trigger a note because these are pads. You know, we're getting a real nice, you know, note here. Oh my God, this is so good. This is so good. Oh, I love this. So that's another way that you could use Harmony Bloom in your tracks, right? Like it never ends with this thing. And so there you go. Harmony Bloom into Unify, doing the very same thing that Omnisphere can do, but with pigments and Jupiter Rain. Let's add some corrosion. Just a timbre. Oh, listen to that! Oh my goodness. This is fantastic. Oh my God. So like I said, if you really open your mind up to the possibilities here, and you really focus on the relationships of the sounds themselves, diving into that frequency separation, adding those subtle details with all that filter modulation, and the beauty of Chromatic 5, just like using the macros, you can modulate the macros. I mean, the sky's the limit here. So I highly encourage you to take these techniques, use them in your own productions. And this year, just take your music to the next level. What are you waiting for? There's no better time than the present. It's right now. It's all happening. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. Like I said, anything is possible. And if you do want help with this, I do have a wonderful ambient coaching service. I also have a wonderful mentorship program, which if you're really serious about this, or even if you're just someone who feels like they have the potential, you know, to do this for real, check it out. The link is down below in the description. You can apply for my mentorship program, and we could possibly work together and, you know, like I said, make your musical dreams and aspirations a reality. So, wow, what a track. Oh man, this is going into the save folder for sure. So, like I said in the beginning, Chromatic 5 available right now. Check out the link down below in the description for Chromatic 5. It's only 15 bucks. It's like a crazy good deal for 50 presets. And this has been a lot of fun. I truly appreciate your time, energy, and presence on this platform. And yeah, I look forward to more videos just like this in the future. So in the meantime, take good care, you guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I'll see you down there. And as always, keep your heads in the clouds and your feet planted firmly on the ground. I am Chris from Signs of Life. And I'll see you guys in the next video.